This tutorial outlines the test proctor experience for the ISBE Illinois Science Assessment. Before the test, you should verify a number of items. Number 1, look to ensure that the ISA 2017 app is present on each student device. Check to make sure headphones are functioning appropriately and are available for each student. Also, ensure that the volume settings are turned up on each student device. One way to do so is to have students use their headphones and log into their device the day before testing to ensure that appropriate volume levels exist. As a test proctor, make sure that you've joined the Google Hangout to communicate with the tech department in the event any issues arise during testing. Identify where you're to retrieve the access code and test ticket folder from your building administrator the day of the test. Lastly, ensure that you have an access code sheet for each student within your testing group. During the test, the ISA 2017 app uses the access code to start the test. At this point, there's nothing that you need to do to start the test for students. However, once testing begins, you may be expected to handle unexpected issues. Here are some basic things to do if an unexpected condition arises. What if there's a power outage, technology failure, or a computer crash? ISA locks tests when these conditions occur. However, please make sure that you contact the tech department via the Google Hangout and notify any issues that arise. If it's a class-wide issue, collect the access code test tickets and place them back in the test session folder until testing can resume. Once the issue has been corrected, provide the access code test tickets back to the students, and then they can log back into the ISA app with that same code and resume testing. However, what if it's just one student that's unable to complete the test? At this point, that student should be able to save and exit the test. They can log back into the ISA app with that same access code and resume testing when left off as needed. What if a student receives an error code? Located within each test session folder is an error code template sheet. If a student receives an error code while testing, please use this sheet to troubleshoot the issues and attempt to resolve it yourself. If you're unable to resolve the issue, please contact that tech department using the Google Hangout to report the issue. We ask that you write down any error code that appears, as it will help identify and resolve any issues. Well, what happens after testing is complete? Well, ISA will automatically update the status of tests and submit student responses. Actually, there's nothing else that you need to do to finish the test session. However, administratively, there are a few options. 1. Please collect all student access code test tickets. Number 2, any students needing a makeup test, please write makeup needed on their test ticket. Please place all access code test tickets back into the test session folder. However, for easy retrieval and identification, place all students needing a makeup session on top. Lastly, return the test session folder to your building administrator. Let's review some highlights of the test. Number 1, tests will automatically be assigned to students based upon their grade and class. All students will have access to the following 2 test accessibility features: text-to-speech and line reader. Headphones are required for the test. No pausing of the test unless identified in an IEP, and no small group testing as well unless identified in an IEP. The tests themselves are approximately an hour, but they are not timed. Students must complete the test in one sitting, unless removed for behavior to finish in a new location or they become ill. This test is in English only, and all 5th and 8th grade students are to take the test, including those new to the U.S. In the event they are a non-English speaking student, a translator will be needed for that student, and the student will complete this test individually in a one-to-one group with the translator. Let's look at the time it takes to take the test. Here is a chart that gives you an overall average of the test, the number of items, the time before and after, the estimated time in minutes of the test, and then the total time to allocate for the testing process. Lastly, let's review the test administration responsibilities. There are 3 key departments involved: the technology department, the building administrator, and the staff and test proctors. Starting with the technology department, they're responsible to print test tickets and provide them to all building administrators. The technology department will also manage the test start, stop, reset, and monitoring of testing. The technology department will also set up the Google Hangouts and invite all test proctors for communication processes during the testing. Building administrators will create the testing schedule and the student groups. They will also create the testing folders. They will make copies of the user guides and place them in each testing folder for your convenience and review. They will organize test tickets into the correct testing session folders, as well as they will organize and schedule translators for students requiring Spanish. Lastly, staff and test proctors. You will be responsible to set up the Chromebooks for testing in your environment. You will verify headphones are available during testing. During testing, you will communicate issues via the technology department and the Google Hangout. You will also mark makeup needed on any access code test ticket that needs a makeup test scheduled. You will place all test codes and tickets in the test session folder when the test session is complete. You will also pick up and return every test session folder to the building administrator.